Hey everybody, welcome back. If you know me, you know I'm a big advocate for having a small, compact, easy-to-use radio in your emergency gear. Today, we're going to take a look at one that I think really fits the bill for you. This is the Retekess V111 AM/FM shortwave radio. Alright everybody, welcome back. So you guys may remember when I reviewed the Retekess V115. I love that radio. It's actually in one of my go bags right now. It's an excellent radio, very nice sound quality, as is with this one too. And it has the ability to tune on shortwave, which I always find helpful in instances where you want to get news from outside your country. And there are still plenty of news broadcasts on shortwave from around the world. Now this doesn't do sideband, so you're not going to be able to listen to ham radios and anything that's on sideband upper or lower. But there's plenty out there still to listen to. And aside from the religious content that some people may or may not like, there's tons of information out there. So it's definitely a handy tool to have in your emergency gear. It's also really cool to have an AM or FM radio during disasters, power outages, earthquakes, whatever, to get information where the power may not be on. And something like this that uses just two little AA batteries will last for a good long time on battery power. So this is a portable FM, medium wave, in other words AM, shortwave radio receiver. Digital alarm clock, which is very, very handy for a travel kind of kit. My travel kits, generally, my travel emergency bags, have all the regular emergency gear in them, but they also have stuff that may help me just for regular stuff. Like if I don't want to call and get a wake-up call, I can set this and be woken up at 9 a.m., 7 a.m., whenever, and not have to worry about it. So it's handy for that kind of a situation as well. Also, too, in an emergency, you may not have your clock radio plugged into the wall, or your phone may not be working, and you may not be able to get woken up, so you got an alarm clock with this. This is a portable AM/FM radio, very pocket-sized, easy to carry anywhere. I mean, you really could slip this into a cargo pocket. For example of size, I'm going to put a lighter here, so you see how big it is. Give you a look at the side and the back. This is another nice feature that I like about this as compared to the 115. I'll get to that in a second. And there's your antenna on top. What I like is this folds down and it's actually attached to the radio. With the V115, it had that little slot that you put in there, and I ended up losing that piece, so I ended up having to make another one out of plastic. This is very, very convenient. Just pop it open, and there you go. You're ready to go. So I do like it. I do like the fact that the lanyard comes attached. I don't normally use lanyards because I'm too lazy to attach them, so that's kind of a neat feature. This does come with a set of earbuds, a decent instruction manual, and a bunch of different languages there. Italian, German, French, everything. And the box. So it's a fairly compact, small radio. We're going to do some tests with it. I was really impressed with the performance of this thing on shortwave. Now granted, we are going to be using our wire antenna that I put together. I had it folded up and it's a little clip for the antenna. It works really, really well. That little alligator clip just clips on there and you pick up all over. So it's really, really impressive to have that kind of a receiver. Granted, this antenna here just isn't capable of pulling in, huge shortwave signals. Let's be realistic. No matter what you get, any onboard antenna is going to be a compromise unless you buy one of those big Grundig tabletop units that have that big long antenna. So for what it is, it does a darn good job on reception. AM was a little disappointing, but not because of the radio, because we have no AM stations out here. I have nothing to pull in. We used to have a good AM station, and you'll see that in the review when we do the AM, because I did it last night because I wanted to get it at night, the best possible signal. We had an AM station out here out of Las Vegas, and I'm about an hour out of Las Vegas, and we were able to hear it. I mean, it had 50,000 watts of power. You could hear it all the way into Southern California. Then they sold their transmitter site, and now you're lucky if you can hear them in best conditions. So we really don't have much for AM radio out here. So that was kind of a disappointing for me because I couldn't test it very well. The FM, again, impressive. Just like the V115, very impressive FM sound. The earbuds, I use actually these earbuds to listen to it. And the FM sound is really nice. You get a nice full stereo sound in that. Of course, because you have one speaker here, it's not stereo. But with the earbuds in, it is stereo. And it is a really nice sounding radio. So, very impressed with that. You do have memories on this, so you can put your favorite memories in there. You do have a favorite button. So let's say you have a go-to emergency channel. Okay, you know that AM 640 is where It's 24/7 news channel and talk radio, whatever, and they're going to be broadcasting emergency alerts, whatever. You can put that in there. You program it on the screen, up or down. Hit this and hold it, and bam, you're there. Now to use the buttons, you'll notice there's red and white buttons there. To use the red feature of these buttons, you're just going to push and hold. So in order for me to set the time, let's say, see how that says time? I would push and hold this, and this would start blinking, and I could go minute and hour, up and down. It's already in that mode. So that's how you're going to do it. To use the memory, very simple. You program the channel you want, you push and hold memory, and you've got it in there. You can go memory plus or minus with this here. You can also lock the screen. If you hold that down long enough, it will lock the screen so you can't get out of it. This is your up and down volume, okay? And this is your tuning. It does not have direct tuning, so you are going to have to scan through the channels to get somewhere. That, you know, for a radio this size, that's expected. It can be disappointing if you're used to being able to just sit there and scan slowly through the shortwave bands, but if you know where you're going to be listening, you really don't need that. You do have a quick little mute button here and a power button. Another neat feature of this radio here is, because it has a clock in it and an alarm clock, one of the biggest pains in the neck is having to take the batteries out of it when you're not using it. I always recommend doing that anyway, but if it's a short-term situation where you're going to put this back in your bag and get in another hotel tomorrow and use it again, you can shut the battery off. So the clock is still running, but the display isn't. And that is on this button here on the side. I can push it, and there it goes. It's gone. So it's still keeping time, but it's not sucking down the battery with the display. Unfortunately, I have another radio that's a C Crane that constantly has the display on and eats batteries like a monster. It receives amazing, it works great, but it eats the batteries up. So let's put that back on there. You do have your earbud jack here and your charger here. You can use a micro USB charger to, and they give you one in the box, to charge up rechargeable AA's. It does run on AA's back here. I will open that up and show you. There is no crank or anything like that, no gimmicks on it. It's a fairly simple, straightforward radio. So let's do a little testing on AM. I'll show you what I got. AM wasn't impressive, but not for the fault of the radio, because we have crummy AM reception out here. So let's check that out. All right, so this is that station I was telling you about. You really can't hear it all that well. It's kind of staticky, but it's the only AM station we get, and for it to be pulling it in this well, that's pretty darn impressive, so I'm impressed with that. I would scan around, but I know we're not going to find anything on it, so I'm going to take it back to the bench, and we're going to do the FM test on it. So as you can tell, AM wasn't that great. I had to move it over there because I was getting too much interference from my lights. What we're going to do now is listen to FM. I have it on mute. This is just NPR. It's talk radio. I know I'm not going to get a copyright strike for that, so let's unmute it, let you hear it.
Regularly on sitcoms in the 90s, but we feel very differently about it now, so it would have been nice to sort of hear the cast talk about that. And of course,
so you see, it's really nice sound to it. It's got some really deep, rich tone to it. It's really, really impressive for the size of the radio to have a speaker that sounds that good and not tinny. Really, really impressive. So let me try and see if I can find like a classical station or something where I won't get a copyright issue because it's public domain, and I'll let you hear that. All right, this is a local station here, and they're doing commercials, so
I know what you did last
I'll let you hear it.
Yeah,
You turn it up.
this summer. Having the most fun on the radio. KNYE 95.1 FM, the big voice of the valley.
So there you go. You can hear it. Sounds pretty good. I'm really, really impressed with the FM sound on it. We're going to test out the shortwave after this, so let's try that out. All right, now for my favorite part. I'm going to show you how I have it set up. I'm going to just run that long wire out of my garage, connect it to the pole that I have my weather station connected to, and we are going to see how well this receives shortwave. Now, this really impressed me because I was able to pull in a lot of stations. And for a receiver this size, of course the antenna is not going to pull that in, unless you're like right next door to a shortwave station. But with an external wire antenna that you can build ever so simply. And at the end of this video, I will put a link to the 115, the Retekess V115, and me building that shortwave wire antenna so you can see how I did it. It's beyond simple. It's really wire and an alligator clip. But we're going to use that. We're going to show you what I can pull in as far as stations go. Okay, so you can see where I have it connected up there. I just literally put the hook onto a piece of wood that's hanging off it. And I have it running into my work area, and you'll get to see behind the scenes here. There you go. Right, that's all set up there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put it on shortwave, and I'm going to scan through, and I'll just cut, through when I find a good station for you, and let you listen to what's on the air. Alright, so we're going to start out with WWV, our favorite. That's on, and now the display will be a little bit different here. That's basically 10,000 megahertz, okay? 10,0,0,0,0,0. You're not going to have those trailing zeros on this. It's I think it's 10 kilohertz per up and down. So we're going to scan around and see if we can find anything else. But you see how well that's pulling that in with just a wire outside of my garage about 3 feet off the ground. That's really impressive. Let me scan around a little, see what we find next. Not sure what station that is, but it's coming in very well. Getting a little fade in and out, but definitely coming in good. Let's keep moving around. Not sure what this station is. I'm sure people that listen to shortwave more than I do will be able to identify it. Again, it sounds kind of like an Asian channel, an Asian frequency. Or should I say an Asian broadcast. But it's amazing how well it's pulling in these stations with just a simple long wire. Yep. Okay. Let's keep moving around for one more, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, I seem to have a religious station. It's kind of fading in and out. I'll turn it up a little bit for you. There you go. So not bad. Not bad at all on shortwave performance. I'm going to turn it off so I can talk here for a sec. Not bad on shortwave performance at all. Really impressive for such a small little receiver that it's pulling in all these stations. Gotta say, I'm impressed with the radio. So, let me wrap up and we'll finish it up and I'll tell you where you can pick these up. And if you're interested, where you can pick up the V115 as well.
They're probably not.
Just wanted to give you a little bit more FM
probably taking
on it.
a very pragmatic approach and probably forming committees and
Turn it down a little bit so you can hear me. But it's definitely an impressive little radio. Awesome for like a bug-out kit or a bug-out bag. Even if you just keep this in your house as an emergency radio, somewhere where you have it readily available. If power goes out, you can tune in, you can listen to hear what's going on. When our power here goes out, we do have a local station that will kind of fill us in on what's going on after a while. It takes them a little while to get to the station because it's mostly run by remote and automated, I mean. So, it's handy to have. It's good to have as another source of information. I also always recommend some kind of miniature digital television, especially during, look at big California earthquakes where no one can get any information. Well, if you have a little television, they're going to be on the air broadcasting. But that's why I've always recommended the most simplest, easiest thing to do and very inexpensive, a simple AM/FM, even shortwave, but it doesn't have to be, but an AM/FM radio. Now, if you're looking for a radio that has performance on shortwave for AM broadcast, you saw this thing pulls in the stations. I was really, really impressed with it. And it's got that nice filter on it, so it really doesn't get overly staticky and annoying. When you're on a light station, it'll just fade in and out a little bit. But for the most part, you saw most of those stations coming in were from China and Asia, and they were all coming in very, very strong with just a stupid piece of wire out that, And I mean, if you live in an apartment building and you want to hang a little piece of wire out your window, you've already got the elevation. Clip it there with a little bit of clip, toss it out the window, and you've got yourself a shortwave antenna. So, these run about $18.74. I will put the links down below. Retekess is primarily selling these on eBay right now, so you can pick them up. I will also put a link to the V115 because I love that radio. Honestly, I really do like that radio. And between the two, you can pick out which one you feel is good for you. Really, the main difference here is a little bit more ease of tuning with the buttons. You don't have a direct input on this. However, when doing shortwave, you notice how I was just scanning through shortwave? You can jump bands hitting the shortwave button again. Let me show you that really, really quickly. We probably won't be able to hear anything. So we can go to shortwave here, and I'll hit this. And you see how we're in 21? I can jump to 4, 5, 9, 11. I can jump bands that way on shortwave. It's a little bit easier to do than sitting here and scanning from, 4 megahertz all the way up to 15 megahertz. Whole lot easier to do that way. So it does give you a little opportunity there to scroll through and see what's going on. And I do like the alarm feature on it. So I'll put the links down below where you could pick this guy up on eBay. They are the official Retekess store on eBay, as well as their whole store. You may find something else you find interesting in there. The tuner itself, FM. you go from 87 megahertz to 108. Medium wave or AM, you go from 522 to 1620. And shortwave, you go from 3.2 to 21.9 megahertz. Dimensions are 4.9 by 3 by 0.08 inch, 150 grams or 6.7 ounces, and it does get powered from the two little AA batteries. And again, if you buy rechargeables, you can recharge it from the side there with a micro USB cable. So I really, really like this. Anyway, folks, check it out. Links are down below. Don't forget to check out our links as well. We have our Amazon affiliate store as well as our freeze-dried wholesalers store. You will click that link for freeze-dried wholesalers and save 15% on your order. That's only to my channel, so click it and you'll get that 15% discount. Don't forget our Buy Patriot Supply link. That is preparewithiridium.com. And if you're interested in more freeze-dried foods and more expansive storage foods, you can check out Thrive Life. Our link down below will take you right there. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.